Hello and welcome to the history of Star Wars. Today we'll be covering the Imperial I-class Star Destroyer. And here we go. The Imperial I-class Star Destroyer, also referred to as an Imperial-class Star Destroyer or just the Star Destroyer, was a model of the Imperial-class Star Destroyer in the service of the Imperial Navy. A wedge-shaped capital ship, it bristled with weapon emplacements, assault troops, boarding crafts, and TIE fighters in the era of the Galactic Empire. Its bridge was staffed by the finest crewmen in the Navy. At first, Star Destroyers were deployed to sectors and systems caught in the aftermath of the Clone Wars, where they would crush any sign of sedition. During the Galactic Civil War, the destroyer's role changed to hunting down high-level rebel targets and bases. They fought in notable battles such as the Battle of Hoth and the Battle of Endor. With a length of 1,600 meters, the wedge-shaped Imperial I-class Destroyer was 445 meters longer than its immediate predecessor, the Vindicator-class Star Destroyer, which had been developed for the Galactic Republic during the Clone Wars. In keeping with the Empire's habit of favoring muted colors whenever possible, the hull of the Imperial class was painted in whitish gray, while the Vindicator class of the Clone Wars era had red markings denoting the Republic's diplomatic immunity. The Imperial I-class Star Destroyers had over 37,000 crew on board, 9,235 officers, and 27,850 enlisted personnel. The complement of 9,700 stormtroopers added to a total crew of 46,785 crew and passengers. With the bridge being located in the upper half of the ship, the officers' quarters were located right below it. To complement its impressive size, every I-class vessel carried consumables for about 2 years, with its liquid stores and holds for raw materials being located near its bow. Amidships, crew barracks, gunnery crew quarters, meeting rooms, training areas, and cell blocks were located in the vessel's second step, with 4 gradually sloping smaller steps, eventually leading back to the ship's neck, which connected it to its upper bridge section, deflector shield generators, and communications array. On the side of the step existed the portal lateral umbilical restocking vestibule. Like other Star Destroyers, a single internal affairs officer was stationed aboard the ship to scan the crew for signs of disloyalty and sedition, as well as interrogate any captured prisoners. The Imperial-class Star Destroyer bristled with weapons emplacements: 60 Tannenbach XX-9 heavy turbo lasers, 60 Borstel NK-7 ion cannons, and 10 Python 07 tractor beam projectors dotted its whitish-gray hull. At the very front of the ship existed the forward pursuit tractor beam array. The ship also featured 6 dual heavy turbo lasers, 2 quad heavy turbo lasers, 3 triple medium turbo lasers, and 2 medium turbo lasers. The Imperial I-class also featured 2 dual heavy ion turrets that lined the dorsal structure flanking the command tower. The turbo laser turrets of an Imperial Star Destroyer were hooked to large arrays of auxiliary power cells. At both ends of the Star Destroyer existed an aft starboard point defense laser cannon. On the underside of the very tip of the Imperial Star Destroyer was the navigational deflector generator. It worked in tandem with the 2 bridge deflector shield domes. It carried shields strong enough to easily withstand a collision with a GR-75 medium transport with no damage to the hull. Within its vast hangar bays, an Imperial-class Star Destroyer typically carried an impressive complement of troops, consisting of 72 TIE Line starfighters, 8 Lambda-class T-4A shuttles, 20 AT-AT walkers, 30 AT-ST or AT-DP walkers, and 15 Imperial troop transports. Despite its fighter complement, Imperial I-class vessels proved less effective against skilled rebel pilots than the Vindicator-class predecessors had been against droid starfighters. They were nonetheless essential in the Imperial doctrine of planetary containment and fast infantry deployment, and the vessel was noted as one of the most resource-intensive ships in the Imperial Navy. Powering the destroyer was 7 main engine units, including Cygnus Spaceworks Gemini 4 ion engines, which could accelerate to speeds of up to 975 kilometers per hour. The ship, however, was not suited towards planetary atmospheres, in which full power was required to stay aloft. Any interruption in the power supply in an atmosphere could be catastrophic to the vessel, despite all vital equipment being shielded. The primary power generator on board the ship was large enough, relative to the rest of the craft, to protrude with a ventral bulb, in order to jump to light speed and enter hyperspace. The Imperial class was equipped with a Class II hyperdrive, while it was standard protocol to dump the ship's garbage before entering hyperspace in order to reduce the weight of the vessel. A prominent feature of the Imperial class was its bridge tower. Located atop the tower were twin deflector shield generator globes and a tractor beam targeting array. The command bridge itself featured 2 elongated pits set below floor level, whose walls were lined with monitors and control panels. In addition, 6 more duty station consoles were mounted freely in each pit. The superior officers stood on a walkway surrounding the pits at the normal deck height. All the consoles were aligned perpendicular to the walkway. A small room behind the bridge existed, separated by a single blast door, which had access to advanced communication equipment and a holographic imaging table. This arrangement was considered beneficial for denoting rank hierarchy within the ship. The Imperial-class Star Destroyers were the technological successors of the Vindicator-class Jedi cruisers used by the naval forces of the Galactic Republic during the Clone Wars. After the Republic was turned into an empire at the end of the Clone Wars, the self-anointed Galactic Emperor Palpatine decreed a massive military buildup to meet interstellar defensive needs. The great shipyards of the galaxy were fired up during the Clone Wars and remained lit well into the age of the Empire. The enormous construction facilities at Quat, Corella, Ringo, Venda, and elsewhere were converted from civilian graving docks into military starports capable of churning out Imperial-class Star Destroyers. Building upon the strengths of the Jedi cruisers, the big Imperial-class vessels became one of the most instantly recognizable symbols of the Imperial might, and were often titled intimidating names such as Lawbringer, Relentless, and Devastator, which coincidentally is one of my favorite Transformers. Initially, the Star Destroyers were deployed to sectors and systems that had once been beyond the reach of Republic law, where they would subjugate them and crush any signs of resistance or rebellion. Imperial Star Destroyers became symbols of this new order. Citizens wary of chaos and war cheered the sight of these giant dagger-shaped warships, while pirates and slavers quailed at the thought of confronting them. Easily becoming the most recognizable symbol of Imperial power, the Imperial class further demonstrated its tactical versatility by protecting the galactic commerce and bolstering Imperial-backed governments. Many admirals, Grand Moffs, ISB agents, and senior Imperial commanders utilized these ships as their personal command ships, with the ship's officer often being as intimidating as the ship itself, whose shadow alone could bring results. At the peak of the Empire, over 25,000 Imperial Star Destroyers were in existence, with the Empire's primary source of Star Destroyers and destroyer-equipped shipyards located at the Industrial Manufacturing Center of Quat. Ultimately, these giant crafts became the backbone of the Imperial Navy, hunting down rebel task forces, blockading undisciplined worlds, and serving as launch bases for primary assaults. Eventually, the Imperial I-class Star Destroyer would be replaced by the Imperial II-class Star Destroyer. The Devastator would be the last of the Imperial I-class Star Destroyers to lumber out of the Quat drive yards before the facility began production on the Imperial II class, although it was later upgraded to compete with these more advanced warships. The Imperial class would ultimately see service in the First Order's Navy 30 years after the Battle of Endor, and would be regarded as a highly respected ship, with many of its design flaws rectified with the construction of the Resurgence-class Star Destroyer, a newer, more powerful vessel based on the old Empire's dreaded warships. Hey, thank you for watching the history of Star Wars. Special thanks to Wikipedia and its contributors for all information you heard today. Very special thanks to my Patreon and to Royalty Free Tube for this fantastic background. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, and leave a comment. These things really help the channel grow. Thank you and have a great day. Bye-bye!